So a lot of us well, I know I've got young kids, and I know at this point I still need to find a babysitter. I still have a couple more years before I feel like it's the right and the appropriate and the legal age for me to leave them at home. But a lot of parents are kind of starting to wonder, when is the right time? And joining us from Family Services, their Executive Director, Catherine Hill. Great to have you here on the show.
Thank you.
And it's one thing, finding a babysitter on New Year's Eve is a pretty tough thing.
Right.
And then you kind of start to ask the question, when is it the right time to actually know that kids are okay to be left on their own?
Okay. So just in terms of the Child and Family Services Act, which gives us some guidelines.
All right.
So 9 and under, never. They need adult supervision. Between 10 and 12 is when we can start thinking about leaving them alone. And that the most important thing to know about that age group is the maturity of the child. So we can talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely.
And then from 12 to 14, then you're looking at it's okay to leave them alone for longer periods of time. 13, 14-year-olds can start babysitting. And then you've got that 14 and up age group as well, which is also nerve-wracking.
Right, because you're not so worried about them themselves. It's what the company and the people that could be accompanying them.
Exactly.
So let's start then going to the maturity level of where we can at least legally start to leave our kids and not be in trouble as parents.
So at 10 years old, you can start to think about it. And the things you want to think about is how mature is your child? Because it's one thing that there's, we try and set an age as a guideline, but what really matters is how mature is your child? How responsible are they? How do they deal with unexpected events? Have you seen them be able to problem solve? Do they get anxious? Are they fearful? Do they get frightened when they're alone? Have they done things on their own, even tiny little things themselves?
Even acknowledging that they want to go to the corner store on their own. Start with a smaller kind of independent things before getting to the big one.
Exactly, and so they're showing you and they're expressing that they want to try and do things on their own. So that can be a 10-year-old who's very mature. It might not be someone till they're 12. And so you really want to assess that as a parent, because you don't want your child at home alone feeling frightened and anxious and nervous. That's not something any of us want for our kids. So we look at that. But if we've got a really mature 10-year-old, then you sit down and have a conversation about how long are you going to be gone, where are you going, all of the important safety information.
Are we thinking then that, I got to run and get groceries.
Yep.
I will be back in an hour.
Perfect.
And so this is where you start to see things evolve.
Exactly. And do that. Start with small, you start to think, okay, my kid's old enough to leave them home. Let's try it, start slowly. Let's do a half hour. I'm going to the store. An hour, maybe 2 hours because you're going to a movie. And now with technology, it's great. We've all got our cell phones. Our kids can reach us at any time. We can reach them. So, and you want to make sure that there's neighbors maybe or family members that they can reach if they can't reach you for whatever reason, and all of that kind of planning in place as well.
It's the maturity level.
Yeah.
And so you could have someone who's 12 and maybe still finding that
if they've never been left alone, if they've never done stuff on their own, if they don't, they're just not there yet.
Okay, what if it's because we have done that to them? Because we live in a society where it's very helicopter parents, whereas when we were out, it was like, you go to the park, I'll see you in 5 hours, and you come back for dinner. And we were out and we did things.
Exactly.
Is it our own fault maybe that they feel so very protected that we haven't given them those opportunities that maybe we had?
It's a tough thing to do as a parent in today's world, because we do live in a kind of fearful society, and there is a lot of pressure for us to always really be there. And where the first question everybody asks is, where were the parents? And how and why was that kid alone? And if you see a child alone in a park, you stop and you look, right? Where's the mom? Where's the parent?
We used to be able to go and do all of those things. So
it's true that maybe some kids, the 10 and 11 may not be so resilient, and they may not be able to be left alone. And so then you just start training them, right? It's all part of educating them and getting them ready to go out in the world. Is give them some opportunities to try and make decisions and solve some problems and get them to feel strong and resilient.
The information, FamilyServicesOttawa.org, FamilyServicesOttawa.org if you're looking for other information. Just know at this point, legally 10 and up is what you're looking at. 9 and under, call in the babysitter.